Psst, you're giving off an 80s retro vibe, aren't you? Carry on then. Hey guys, how are you, you shoulder pad swaggers? It's not the 80s, but, wishing it was. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe and like button. Oh, and the comment too. That's really, really important. So, I'm feeling that 80s vibe in my system right now. I don't know. Do you ever get that feeling, you're getting the feels for a specific generation because these days suck? Because I am. Yeah, anyway, today I'm doing He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Saturday morning cartoons, guys. And Sundays at 4 p.m. I miss those days. Life was much slower and definitely simpler. That's probably why I'm getting the 80s feels right now. Because most definitely, life's getting more complicated every single day. These times. Anyway, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. The Masters of the Universe. Funny they're called that, considering they haven't exactly gone off planet. I mean, their planet's name, by the way, is Eternia. And He-Man, well, because he's a dude, whose alter ego is Prince Adam. I don't understand why they call the Masters of the Universe. I don't think so they've even gotten, I don't think they've ever gone off planet except to visit his own sister She-Ra in one episode. But I don't think so they've traversed the universe, much less their galaxy. But, it's a catchy name. Who cares? Now, in this piece that I'm drawing right now, I'm drawing He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, the Sorceress, Stratos, Orko, and Ram-Man. I am aware Battletech is not around. Let's just say that he reverted back to Cringer a tad bit too early for this shot, for this pose, for this photo shoot. So he's just there. Don't worry about it. Also, if you've been following my channel, which I really think you should, you'd notice that I am gradually adding more characters to each art piece that I'm doing. I mean, it is so difficult to do actually, but I get the feels that this is a good practice as any. My last piece of this size was Genshin Impact, and that had 4 characters. So right now I'm I upped the ante and made it 7 characters this time. 7, guys. Let's see how this goes. Moving on. The line art for most of my drawings that I will be using my color markers on, like this one, are basically straightforward. I decided so. Meaning I won't be putting on shadings as I paint. I've decided. The reason being is, number 1, I'd like to get more comfortable with my markers. Get used to blending, understanding total values and such. Because these markers are something that is like a new beast to me, and I'm still wrangling it to submission. So yeah. And second is that number 2 is I'm not comfortable yet shading with inks. Simply put, I'm not there yet. I'd rather shade with pencils than inks, but we have to eventually. So I'm getting there. Oh! For this, I used a reference image I found on Pinterest. Just search He-Man and you should find one vaguely similar to this piece that I'm doing. But I am aware of my limitations, and one of them is not being particularly good at copying reference line by line. But that's not exactly my goal right now. You see, the tricky part of drawing, much less inking multiple characters, in case you guys are wondering, not that you asked, is the depth perception of each character and their relationship to each other. Let me explain, if that makes sense. It's considering the spaces each character occupies in your canvas. In the foreground, the middle ground, then the background. That is the challenge. Creating an illusion of depth, hence depth perception. And then I have to consider the size of which each character will appear again to create the illusion of depth. But the question is, how big will one be next to the next character in front of him or her? You know what I mean? Those are the things that I'm trying to wrap my head around. My goal for today's drawing is this: depth perception. So, coloring using a healthy mix of markers and pencils are tricky. But again, if you've been following this channel, which I strongly advise you do, there is progress here and there after every piece. Baby steps, baby steps. I personally prefer to start my base layer with the lightest color and gradually move up to darker tones. I mean, it's much easier for me that way. Keep in mind that number of layers you can add to a piece before ruining the piece is dependent on the thickness of the paper. Right now, I'm using a cardboard-like paper, and its thickness is probably 4 to 5 copy papers thick, probably 5. And I can use up to 4 to 5 layers of markers before I start to scratch the paper. So guys, keep that in mind whenever you're using color markers. I guess the two big things that you should remember whenever you're using color markers is that number one is there are a plethora of tutorials out there, and I do recommend ADC Art Attack. Search him on YouTube. He's a really great guy, and he does know his markers. And number two is that practice. Now, it's just not, it doesn't really apply to me, or I don't really believe in practice makes perfect. I don't believe in that. What I do believe in is perfect practice makes perfect. I'll explain that in another video, but just remind me. Anyway, on another note, guys, I've gotten a few requests. Okay, segue. I've gotten a few requests that I've been delaying for a bit. I do apologize for that. You guys know who you are. Let's face it. When your audience requests something, you kind of feel the level of expectation they have on you. And it's only right you deliver. I have quite a few requests for my 3-inch sketch cards and a couple for pieces of this size. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't want to rush it and post a half-baked something for the sake of just posting. I mean, if you know what I mean. Hence the goals that I have for every drawing that I make. And for this piece right now, it's depth perception. So, this piece clocked in at 9 hours, spread out in a couple of days, ate about more than 70 gigabytes of my hard drive, and another couple days to it. My hard drive is running on red again, as usual, but I'm happy all in all. I do feel I achieved my goal of exploring depth perception. Still, I got a lot to learn. But it is something, huh? It is something. Gotta admit. Well, this is it, guys. My lockdown take on He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, Ram-Man, Sorceress, Stratos, and Orko. Of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. He-Man. Pum 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 pum. Stay safe, stay indoors, and stay subscribed. This is Comics on Lockdown.